So, with Disney and RTD wanting to make Doctor Who MCU, it's maybe on the cards that Torchwood might come back. Following the weekly Twitter drama, people seem to show enthusiasm about the idea of Gwen leading Torchwood solo in a reboot, though Eve Miles has since nipped that in the bud. I think either way, the chance of Captain Jack returning to our screens in any capacity remains unlikely. Let's make something clear, I'm not interested in having a debate about whether what Barrowman did was wrong. I'm not interested in having a debate over whether Barrowman is being treated unfairly. I'm not even interested in discussing the role the people around him, fandom, and our culture in general played in normalising his behaviour. Make no mistake, that is a worthwhile discussion, but that's not the purpose of this video. And I'm warning you, I'm watching that comment section with a fucking sniper rifle.
You will be banned before your greasy little finger reaches its keyboard.
I'm not here to discuss Barrowman, I just want to answer one question. Can Torchwood exist without Captain Jack? And the obvious smug answer is yes, because it already does. Torchwood has done Big Finish stories that haven't featured Jack, although I've not listened to any of them yet, so I can't ascertain their quality. And the TV series did character pieces where Jack wasn't the main focus, and the organisation existed for a whole series before we even found out how it led to a spin-off starring the former Time Agent. The argument has been made that Jack as a character is played out and there's nowhere left to take him. Check out Sam's review of Miracle Day if you want more of this take in detail. Suffice to say, I think I agree with this. Even if we discount Big Finish, the TV show did every variation on Jack is a shady bastard. I think we've gotten everything we can out of the century he spent on Earth prior to the series. We've done angst about immortality. Hell, it's something we're managing to do with the Doctor well enough in the main show, much to my discontent. I'm somewhat of a defender of his stuff in Revolution, but I'd be hard-pressed to say that it justified bringing him back 100%. I think back to the story of how he was going to be in Good Man Goes to War, and they were going to start him on the path to becoming the face of Bo by getting his head chopped off by one of the headless monks. That's the kind of thing you do with a character when you don't think there's any more ideas left. So on the one hand we have Moffat, the writer who arguably created Jack, and Chris Chibnall, the showrunner who gave him arcs and development for 2 seasons, and both of them seem to be kinda shrugging their shoulders when it comes to him. It's the fate of archetypes like this. You eventually reach a point where you just can't take them any further. It's going to be interesting as I go through the VNAs and the EDAs to find out when they stopped getting dividends out of Edgelord Doctor. My money's on Love and War and the Turing test. Children of Earth was peak Jack. It took him as a character about as far as he could go. It broke him. I mean, how is he meant to top killing his grandson? Killing 2 grandsons? While skipping rope with the entrails of baby seals? Wearing a Nazi uniform? I find him one of the most fascinating characters in all of Doctor Who, but I've had my fix. I'm done, and if I change my mind, there's already recorded Big Finish out there, and plenty of books. But let's put pansexual Don Draper to the side for 1 second, and ask ourselves whether Torchwood is even still worth doing at all. If it's not about Captain Jack, what is it about? Torchwood's very identity was constantly in flux. It started out seemingly as therapy for Chris Chibnall. It became a Whedon-esque show back when we couldn't get enough of those. And then it ditched the CSI Cardiff trappings and just became an excuse to let RTD be as gloriously nasty as he wanted. And then when Russell wanted to do more bleak shit, but basically realised that the surviving characters and what was left of the format were kind of dead weight, he carried on making miniseries without them. So what is Torchwood about, apart from just rampant cynicism? If I had to choose one all-encompassing word, I suppose it would be life. Unlike Doctor Who, it's stuck on Earth and regularly deals with everyday human concerns. Sex, work, family life, depression, mostly depression. It depicts human nature as awful. It depicts human lives as often awful. But it's ultimately hedonistic and believes that life should be protected and preserved at all costs because all that's waiting for us when we die is a never-ending darkness. This is as good as it gets, so we have to hold on to it. Until, of course, RTD started interrogating and inverting even this in Children of Earth and Miracle Day. Torchwood really has no respect for anything, not even its own thesis. Jack fits all of these themes to a T, but as demonstrated, he's not our only avenue for exploring them. So I could see a rebooted version starting from scratch, maybe with a whole new cast of characters, maybe with Gwen leading it. But another reading I subscribe to is that Children of Earth was all about how Torchwood as a franchise needs to end. The plot of a government engaging in class warfare in the face of a giant alien protection racket didn't necessarily need to be a Torchwood story. The series sidelined them and seemed to be pointing out how inadequate they were. The 21st century is when it all changes, but Torchwood was not ready. So you can't use that in your opening anymore. The show always seemed to be poised to choose cancellation over evolution or preservation. So are we not undermining the best piece of Doctor Who media just for the sake of a seemingly endless conveyor belt of content? I mean, sure, if Torchwood comes back, we could answer a whole load of deep philosophical questions. Chief among them being, is there even still a market for this? Because outside of us weirdos, there wasn't really back in the day. So here's my suggestion. Make Torchwood the antagonists. I would quite like to see another take on Torchwood, but have it not be Torchwood 3. Actually, side note, whatever happened to Torchwood 4? Did we ever find out about that? But anyway, I want a return to the original depiction of Torchwood in Series 2 as a colonialist, imperialist organisation. And then, if you really want a spin-off, do it as a one-and-done series, do it as a prequel that's all about the fall of this new Torchwood back into villainy. And if Gwen is involved, end it with her leaving, concluding that Torchwood was always unethical and that it should have stayed buried. But of course, this is all hypothetical. The Torchwood is getting revived rumour was floated before Series 11, it was floated after Revolution. It's staying off our screens, and I'm fine with that. Every time Russell starts talking about having an empire, I kinda roll my eyes. I'm only really interested in a spin-off that lets us tell stories that we can't in the main show. Stuff like Out of Time or Goodbye Sarah Jane. Until we get something that looks like that, I think there's not really much to see here.
No matter what you do or what you say, they still love me!